Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Chaitra Vedalapalli. I'm the president of Women in Cloud. So excited to have you all here today. This is the kickoff of the Cloud CXO series. And really, we're talking about the CSO wish list because once we know the CISO's wish list of what they are looking for in skills and traits, by the top companies, you can all start to prepare. So tell me something about what you're planning to do this afternoon after the session. Put it in the chat for me. But again, welcome from everyone. We are seeing people from Dallas, Seattle, Austin, Calgary, and San Francisco. Welcome, everyone. We are very excited to have you here today. So, with us today, we have some amazing people who have planned to be here with us. We have Tim Callahan, we have Barry, we have Dr. Natalie, we have Stuart, who are all going to really inspire you, aspire you to look at the cybersecurity scholarship across the world in your role, in your careers. So, what are you going to learn today in this session? It's going to be a jam-packed 1 hour. First of all, is understanding what is the CISO's wish list. What are they looking for from the talent? How are you preparing for the talent? How are they ensuring that you as an individual are going to stand out? You're also going to get answers to the questions you may have. If you have questions, I would love you to put it in the chat as the conversation is happening. And I'll have 3 unique opportunities for you all to get skilled in cloud and AI and cybersecurity. Is that all? Is it the reason why you are here today? Put yes in the chat for us. Go ahead. Is this the reason why you're here? Perfect, Adriana. Very excited. Excellent, Belbir. Yes, Peter. Doreen, so nice to see you here. Hi, Linda. Fantastic. Okay, so how many of you are new to Women in Cloud? Put new in the chat. Anyone new here? I know most of you, I know you here. Cosley, very excited. Erica, Lisa, welcome, welcome. Okay, a little bit about Women in Cloud so you all know why you are even here. First, we are a community-led economic development organization, and we are taking collective action to create $1 billion in economic access for the founders and professionals by 2030. The way we do it is all through collective action, ensuring that you have access to 3 things. The first one is capacity building, building your skills around technical skilling around cloud, AI, and cyber, making sure you have that. Second, we are also focused on leadership development, making sure you can grow as an executive leader and you have a pathways to do it effectively in a $7 trillion ecosystem because our representation is very small in that huge opportunity space. Second is economic development, helping all the founders to build a co-sell-led go-to-market with hyperscalers so that they actually can build $1 million business leveraging the cloud marketplace. And third one is advocacy work, understanding we're researching the things so that we can be a trusted advisor to the policymakers in the industry. So that's what we do. So now you are here and you understand what we do. I have a question for you. So today we are talking about cybersecurity careers. What do you want to learn about the skills and traits that is desired by top executives within the Fortune 1000? What do you want to learn today? Why are you here? I want to know. Put it in the chat. What's motivating you to spend an hour with us? So I want to make sure by end of this session, you have all got the answers to your question. Put in the chat for me. Keep going. While you're putting the answers in the chat, because I do want the speakers to understand why you're here. If you're thinking, for DevSecOps role, perfect, to understand AI, ML, cloud security, and presentation skills, fantastic. Keep going, skilling up for the future jobs, then you're in the right place. So there are 3 opportunities for you. First opportunity is the cybersecurity scholarship. We have 5,000 of them that is available for the US market, making sure that you can apply for it. It's a $6,000 value. It's really is for helping you get equipped for a high demand entry to mid-level cybersecurity position. So that is one of the reasons you should apply for it. The second opportunity we have is to help you skill and become an AI innovator in the ecosystem. So we have an AI innovation challenge along with up to $25,000 in prizes. Apply for those opportunities. That is happening, and the challenge will happen somewhere around May to June timeframe, but you do need to be certified to apply for the challenge. The third opportunity is many of you want to have your voice heard. So we want to make sure that we have a global speaker readiness program that's been announced. It's an Insider Circle program. It is part of a community. So if you have to understand how to really get your public speaking done right, you know what your mastery is. This program is designed, and Tucker Stein and some of other executives are helping women to get ready. So, with that, what you get to learn within the program is really focused on your brand readiness, especially speaker readiness, executive leadership preparedness, and the ESG community engagement. So, that is what is available so that we could cultivate you, we can celebrate, and every day. So, consider joining us. And then coming to how we are going to engage today, there is a Q&A feature on the top next to the chat. Please use that one for asking your questions so that we can moderate effectively. So with that, I'm excited to invite Stuart Cohen, who's going to be moderating today's panel on the CSOs Wishlist. So, welcome, Stuart. He has spent his profession in cybersecurity. I know him for the last few weeks. Pretty exciting. He has worked in 18 years at IBM, and he's been an executive. He understands what executive preparedness really look like and why we need to help women and allies in the ecosystem. He was also a CXO at the Linux Foundation, works with multiple CISOs, and he's also an advisor to Brick Red System. Today's session is sponsored by Microsoft and also Brick Red System. So really, really thank you to these companies. With that, Stuart, I'm going to hand over the baton. So please welcome all the other speakers, and so you can moderate the session.
Perfect, Chatra. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for attending. This is a new platform for me, so I just turned on the camera and turned on the microphone. If the other panel members can do the same, that would be terrific. I don't see anybody else, but I'm assuming that everybody is there. So first of all, as we get started, I'd like to introduce a couple of people. Tim Callahan, as he said, is the global CISO at AFLAC. Tim, thanks so much for joining us today. Barry Hensley is the global CISO at Brown & Brown Insurance. And Dr. Natalie Johnson is not only the Vice President of Education of the South Florida chapter of Cyversity, she's also an information security executive in Broward County in Florida. So first of all, panelists, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, giving us your insights and perspectives. Why don't, before we get started, I think it's important, while you're all in the cybersecurity space, I think we ought to talk about this in a little bit more broader context. What do women need to do? What can they do? How they can be better prepared for whether it's cloud, whether it's IT, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's risk and privacy, governance, regulatory, all the different pieces that kind of fall under, I would say, the broader IT categories, I think would be valuable. Maybe Natalie, maybe I'll start with you. From a cybersecurity standpoint, maybe you could talk a little bit about cybersecurity and some of the things that you see that cybersecurity is trying to do to make some of these candidates better candidates. And then maybe with your other hat on, from a Broward County standpoint, what do they need to do to be prepared for a position in the county and state government?
Hi. Thank you, Chai. Thank you, Stuart, for having me. It's such a privilege to be a part of your community. what can women do? First, you have to understand that you belong. I know the numbers say that we're underrepresented, and the saying, the IT guy, nope, we're here to stay. Organizations like Women in Cloud, organizations like Cybersecurity are here to help us establish ourselves. We already have the passion. What we now need is the confidence, the sponsorship, and the mentorship to get out and do this. Um, in my perspective, it's a combination of things. When I first came into cybersecurity, it wasn't called cybersecurity. It was called management information systems or project management. I don't think anyone who started in the industry thought it would be like this. This is, absolutely amazing. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm the subject matter expert of cybersecurity. Oh, that's a scary thing. Women today, it's time to empower. It's time to move into a space that needs you. Whether it's administrative skills, technical skills, I believe that cyber, AI, information security, there's a home for all of us. So it's about preparing yourself. It's about building that passion because it is a very diverse field, and then having the confidence to step up and do what you know you need to do. I tell my staff all the time, I equate what I do as a cybersecurity practitioner as a firefighter or an ambulance or a teacher, where we are part of a very special group that's going to need us in from today and from now on. So
It's I'll get to the other two in a second, but you bring me to an interesting point. When I was the CEO of the Linux Foundation, we spent a lot of time looking at how do we get more women part of the Linux kernel development community. And Linus and some of the key kernel folks, talked about one of the key things that women needed not only was the technical skills, but in most cases they had the technical skills. They needed the confidence and the leadership capabilities to know they could be a significant contributor into the Linux kernel. And I think it's just continued to evolve as you look at all of these topics around the broader umbrella of IT, how that all fits together. Maybe Barry, maybe you could spend a couple minutes talking about, your perspective on kind of, what's coming and what's needed. And I know you guys have some specific things that you do at Brown and Brown as it relates to kind of a feeder system as well, and a couple of examples for us.
Like Natalie and Tim, thank you for a tremendous opportunity to be part of the community and also have a conversation about something that's so important. And that's how do we continue to grow all the information technology and cybersecurity professionals that we need as we look at an industry that just does not have the pipeline for the number of positions that each of us have open. And knowing that each of us are not only charged to ensure our businesses are enabled from an information technology perspective, and obviously security is foundational to that. I think the other context, Stuart, that you and I talked about earlier from a Brown and Brown perspective, I joined Brown and Brown because I've always had one of those. I'm one of those individuals that always knew this sense of purpose, whether that was spending 25 years in the service or spending 14 years fighting the good fight from security research and incident response perspective. And so, Brown and Brown helps organizations ensure things that are important to them. And so when I thought about that, how do we help people protect things that are important to them? It resonated with my core values. And I think part of we should, as we think about, you alluded to what are we doing from a Brown and Brown perspective, is how do we get the tremendous talent that's out there today to be interested in science, technology, and engineering and the maths and sciences early on. And much of the leaders that I've been talking to in industry, to include just this morning, the common theme I heard from them was, we can't wait to college. We've got to be doing this in the middle schools and elementary schools where, the young women out there today see this as an opportunity. They don't believe that they're being forced into a society norm, that they get the urge, the passion associated with all that technology brings to enable today's society. And so one of the initiatives we have at Brown and Brown is we have every year we bring interns into the company. We have partnerships with colleges like Stetson University and Bethune-Cookman and Daytona State and Embry-Riddle. And we interview a number of candidates from those colleges, and we want to understand specifically what inspires them, what are they passionate about, how we can feed that passion, and we put them in part of project teams. And the good thing about the business is that if one of the divisional leaders, hire one of those individuals in that program, for the first year, it's not out of our budget. That our leadership pays out of their budget so that we don't feel burdened by the cost of the business, even though it's an enabler for the business. We just actually hired a young lady from Emory University, Sarah. And Sarah was part of her class last summer. And every one of us across the business was trying to compete for her talent. And what was amazing, what I saw in Sarah had a thirst for knowledge. She had a passion for learning. She wanted to make it different. She wanted to figure out how she could, get to the next level in her professional career. And so, Stuart, come full circle in this conversation, and the people on this call, we want to make sure that everyone finds their passion. We figure out how to enable that passion in the most effective way that they can figure the best way to serve the community, serve their family, and to include enable themselves.
So, Tim, there's a lot of nodding going on. Do you?
Yeah. So I think they've made, most of the points that I would have. I do want to kind of drill down into the passion aspect, though. I think, for anybody coming into cybersecurity, anybody for doing anything in life, really, it's really a self-reflection and understanding, is this what I want to do? Why do I want to do it? What's driving me? And then, as Natalie pointed out, there's a lot of diversity in cybersecurity. It's not like when we first got in, years ago, where it was seen as a subset of IT skills. Now it's a true profession, and it has a lot of aspects to it. So it's really understanding, if your passion is on more the technical kind of creative side, then you're looking at engineering architecture. If it's more of an analysis risk assessment, then you're looking more of a risk assessment analyst. And there's plenty in between all of that. And so it's really understanding what you want to do, because all of us, if we're passionate about what we're doing, we're going to be better at it. Many of the young people that I have spoken to, and like Barry, we have an internship program. In fact, we're even moving into neurodivergence, and recruiting in that space as well. Because again, we find some very talented young people that, their passion is to be technical, and they're very good at it. And they may not want to be social, but they want to be technical. So I do think, throughout my career and what I've done is I've always tried to match people in their job with what their passion and their aptitude and align all of that so that they can be successful. And certainly I look at, at the spectrum, there's some people that, have more mature soft skills. And, we generally align those more to the business relationship aspects. And there's some that, just happy as a lark to sit and watch screens in the sock, and again, we need those folks as well. So it's really understanding your passion and then being able to articulate what that passion is. When I have a conversation with someone, I always ask them, well, what is it you want to do and why do you want to do it? And I think knowing that story and being able to articulate that story is very important.
Maybe to that point, we could elaborate a little bit on the confidence side of things, the leadership side of things, and the idea, to your point, if someone's interested in being very technical in nature, but not necessarily very social, how do they open the door to have the conversation, to get the interview, to apply for the position? How do they put themselves out and how do they get into the environment to be able to do that? Right. And maybe Natalie, I'll just kind of go back around to you for a bit, but maybe we talk a little bit about what sort of skills and training and certifications they ought to be thinking about in order to allow them to feel comfortable opening those doors to talk about their technical expertise and, to your point, their technical passion.
And it's so funny. Yesterday, I was at the South Florida chapter Top Golf networking event. I will throw in my spot there for Cyversity. Cyversity is an organization that's been around about 10 years. Devin mentioned yesterday there are now 8 chapters. My chapter is SoFlo down in South Florida. So anyone interested or in the area, the mission for Cyversity is to achieve the consistent representation of women and unrepresented communities and veterans in cybersecurity through diversity, education, and empowerment. So, and with all that being said, you have the technical skills. We got that check. What we need now is to develop sponsorships, mentorships, and of course that confidence piece that's underset by passion. Where yesterday we had students from Lynn University, we had students from FIU University, we had professionals from just a gambit of organizations from South Florida, and we mixed them together. And we were golfing, and we were eating, and I met a gentleman yesterday, and he was neuro challenged, and he was like, "Oh, I don't communicate well," and I'm like, "No, that doesn't matter." I said, "The way you get better and more comfortable in your skin is that you talk." So him and I yesterday, we linked up on LinkedIn, and we're going to work together. And he's going to come to our Cyversity events. He's going to be more comfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not comfortable. We are just getting comfortable in our skins and being able to communicate about what we love. As you know, we have difficult jobs. I want to circle back to, I believe it was what Tim said, where the passion has to be there. I can't underscore where people go, "Oh, cybersecurity, you make all this money," but it's a heavy load. It can be challenging, but if you are truly in something that you love and something that you want to see prosper, it doesn't make it work per se. It's just developing yourself and having that confidence in yourself, and mentoring and internship. Believe it or not, early in my career, I hated networking. I came across a group that I went to St. Thomas University, go Bobcats, and I met an amazing group of individuals that is where I was in my career. I was already an analyst, I was already in project management, but I did not have that smoothness. I wasn't comfortable speaking to people, and that was my missing piece. Like I say all the time, Phyllis King from Broward County is my mentor. I didn't know I needed her until I met her. So it's all about you establishing yourself as a professional, where those education, academia, certification. Well, I guess we'll talk later about that, Stuart. But also getting out, becoming more comfortable speaking your passion, speaking your technical skills, speaking your soft skills. There is a need in the market, no doubt. We would not be sitting here. Shai and her group are doing an amazing thing to,
Oh, I don't know if we lost
you lose me?
for a second.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
That was very okay. But yes, working confidence, networking, sponsorship, mentorship, it all ties together, but it starts with the individual. You can do this. So,
Barry, to you.
yeah, it was interesting. Part of the conversation you alluded to was what's the skills, what's the certification, what's the training do you need for a position, and while great example, put a plug in trying to hire a security architect. And so when you start to think about a security architect, what are you actually looking for? And our our teammate resource leads are trying to scope how they help us with the funnel of candidates that come in, and they literally ask, how should we consider this position? What certificates should we go look at? And I said, well, first of all, to be an architect, you've got to be inquisitive. You've got to question the norm. You've got to figure out how to put the puzzle together. So ultimately, you're a business enabler, not a distraction to the business. And so we don't want anybody to think that the security is the reason why not to do something. The security is all about how we enable the business to do something. And so, we don't be the department of no. And so they were quite surprised that most of the things that we were looking for that security architect had a lot to do with, can they collaborate with others? Can they understand the business case? Can they do risk management? Can they think about how to reduce the risk associated with an initiative, not just say, I've got to engineer a certain solution? And the other thing, from a certificate perspective, I told them, well, first of all, you got to know the environment, right? So if you're a major Office 365 environment, or you're a certain type of infrastructure, you probably ought to at least make sure that they have some background in Azure or Intunes or the things that enable Microsoft. But in the end, you want people that know identity, which is the new perimeter. You want people to start to understand what a zero trust environment looks like. And so we're not as much about certificates. It's an indication, do they at least started to posture their skill sets. Most of our interview is part technical, part your ability to collaborate and work with others, but the other one is culture, right? How do you fit within the team? Do you use the word I versus we? Do you want to be part of an organization that helps others? And so back to, I've got to applaud your comments around the soft skills, and wanting to be part of something, because we can teach you, as long as you have the technical foundations of things, we can expose you to much of that you can grow and thrive, but don't discount the other skills as well.
Tim, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would, and just a bit to pile on. I do think, I'm fortunate. I've got a fantastic team. By the time I'm speaking to someone, it's not anything about the qualifications, because I wouldn't be talking to them if they didn't have that. So when I speak to people, it really is figuring out the fit. Are they, especially if it's a leadership position, I'm looking, are they the right kind of leader? And when I say that, a leader, in my opinion, a leader is a servant to their team. They work really hard to give the team their resources, coach their team. We in the military, we used to have a saying that the leader doesn't lay his head on a pillow till he knows his troops are taken care of. A leader doesn't eat his first bite until he knows his troops are taken care of. And that's, I think, what true leadership is, and caring about first the people, caring about the company, and caring about, in our case, our customers. I mean, our promise is to be there when our customers need us most, and our candidates need to embrace that and understand what that means. And so it really is, it's been pointed out about a cultural fit. And getting back to, you can't fake caring about people. You may be for a little bit, but I mean, it's going to come out. You can't fake caring. And so that's really what we're looking for.
So maybe to that point, maybe we take a very tactical question, and then we take kind of a next level career statement. On the tactical side, if you're not in any of the IT, cyber, cloud disciplines today, what are a couple of tactical things that you could do to better position yourself to apply for some of the open jobs that are out there? And then after we talk about that, then we ought to talk about somebody who's in the IT industry today, how do they move up, right? How do they position themselves for greater leadership, whether it's leadership as a, as a fellow and an individual contributor, or whether it's leadership as from a management and people standpoint. But let's talk first about the tactical one. If somebody's not in IT, and Barry, you're nodding your head, we'll start with you. If you're not in IT, but you want to get into IT because there's a lot of job opportunities available, what are some tactical things you can do to, get your foot in the door, get the interview, have the first conversation, and then obviously get the job?
Yeah. So hopefully this audience doesn't mind if I brag about my own daughter for a minute. And and she was on the call. She would absolutely shoot me for telling you this story. But my own daughter had a passion to be a police officer her entire life. And so she actually went to University of Georgia, got a degree in criminal justice. She also got a degree in history, English, and psychology, and a degree I forgot. And she was trying to figure out how she would get into the police force. She was going to get a master's degree at North Georgia, uh, and was going to go in the Army. And while she was there, the National Security Agency had approached her about an opportunity to be part of their federal police program. Um, and she won a slot to go to the police academy, which is the federal academy down in Blythe, Georgia, and spent a couple of years at the National Security Agency. Her spouse wanted to move back to Atlanta. She came back to the police department here in Atlanta, but she says, maybe dad's got something here. Maybe there's something in this whole technology field I ought to be thinking about. And so she started volunteering. Now she's an intel analyst in a police department in South Atlanta. And she started volunteering to help her leadership team and the mayor and others build PowerPoint slides and help get things organized. And believe it or not, unbeknownst to her father, she goes off and gets a master's in English. Now you're going to wonder how this gets back to technology, because today she's actually a senior engineering technical writer for an aerospace engineering company, and they they hired her because she was passionate. They saw that she was successful. They saw that she was willing to learn. They saw that she was being able to teach herself skills. And now she goes around and helps people fix computers in this aerospace company in Atlanta. You can tell I'm pretty proud of my daughter, but open not only the opportunity to find her, but I will tell you, she saw opportunity, right? She didn't care that she had, was a police officer. She wanted to evolve her career. And today, her mother doesn't ask me to fix the computer; they ask her, and that's an achievement.
Natalie, any comments?
I agree. Where specifically for cyber, I would say start at the bottom and understand. Cyber goes in so many different directions. Are you going to be applications? Are you going to be networking? Are you going to be server desktop workstation? Are you going to be cloud? Where Security Plus, Google. I mean, there are a lot of those entry level experiences you can have in an affordable way, where you can see the criteria, see the curriculum, and see if it interests you. I wouldn't suggest that anyone jump into this field, and I'll say it over and over again, because there's a lot of money. You really want to have that inquisitive spirit, have how does this work, or how can I help this, or how can I fix that. That plays a big role in being satisfied with what you do every day for a living. My daughter, she's 18, she's going to Florida Atlantic University, and she's like, "Oh mom, your job is it's boring." So I said, "You know what, I will get you this new purse that you want if you take these e-council classes and show me the certificates." Of course she wanted that purse, so she took the classes, and she, believe it or not, got into SOC analyst stuff. I'm like, unless you're exposed to the different parts, you don't know if you like it. I know a lot of people are in a situation where you're in your career and you have responsibilities and you have bills. Let's be honest. and going to take a job cut or a pay cut is not something that you can do. That's where volunteering, and believe it or not, my first experience with technology outside of my home was my church. I would go to church and they would have a problem, and I would fix the printer, and I would set up a device, and through that I got hands-on experience, and more importantly I established that I really like doing this, which worked and motivated me, which gave me those things to put on my resume, which gave those people who would be willing to speak to my praise so that I could get that next opportunity.
Perfect. So Tim, maybe I'll let you comment a little bit about that, and then kind of transition us into, if you're an individual contributor, or you're a first line manager of your organization or any organization, how do you move up as well, right? How do you move up to be, whether it's a technical fellow as an individual, or whether it's a management leadership position across the spectrum. So maybe some perspective on that.
Yeah, I think to quote, kind of break in, it depends oftentimes where you're at and what your background is. I think, and Natalie just said it, oftentimes I've run into folks that have an IT background, but they want to get specifically into security, but they can't really afford to take an entry level position. And so, again, I think their pathway there is a little bit different. If they have the IT background, I think they can, take classes and go kind of the education route, certainly the volunteering route, and gain some experience. So at least it could become more of a lateral move. And we've had, several people from our IT organization move into my organization that way. Then, if you're, if you're kind of not in the IT field at all, then your path is going to be a little bit different. You're going to have to find some again, technical classes, something so that you could at least understand the landscape and move in that way. And I'll tell you, I made my entry, my military profession was not this. It was explosive ordnance disposal. And there's a lot about disarming bombs that's similar to cyber, but the, from a risk management standpoint. But I basically came out of the military and got the opportunity to use my core leadership and program management skills to break in, very early into the, as cyber was developing, or information security was developing as a profession, and then just leverage that, and then took a ton of courses, like at Georgia Tech and some of the other places, to kind of spin up on my technical side so that I could be successful. So I think, again, every situation's different. It's always good to find someone to be a mentor. Natalie is in the South Florida Cyversity. I've been a mentor in Cyversity in the Atlanta area. Our Natalie equivalent, I guess, is Olivia Rose, and she's just a wonderful person and kind of got me into that. But so through that, I've been able to mentor a lot of people over into it from different professions. And you're only limited by your imagination, I believe, and your persistence. And if it's really your passion, I think you can find a way to do it. Now, to your second point, I do think that there's dual paths. There's individual contributor paths, and there's leadership paths. And I, when I first came to AFLAC, there really wasn't as easy a way. So if someone wanted to advance, we used a system much like every other company, that the only way you could was manager, senior manager, director, etc. So that kind of forced people that didn't necessarily have the people leadership passion or skills to kind of take on those roles in order to advance. And
or desire.
Yeah.
Or desire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, it is. It's a desire thing. But what we found is that we had many, quote, managers that were very competent technical people, but they just didn't really have the people leadership and the desire or the passion or the ability. So we did work out. I partnered with our CIO at the time, and we convinced HR that we had to create dual paths. There had to be some ability for people that were very competent, very good, to continue to progress in an individual contributor role and be able to, advance and stay within our company. And so we developed, a grading system that was dual tracked. And I think that's very important. If a company doesn't have that flexibility, I think what you do is the only way to move up is, again, become a people leader. And if that's not your passion, if you don't have the servant leadership type model, I think that's a disservice both to yourself as well as the people you lead. So I do think you have to have that dual opportunity to move up in the individual contributor. That's about gaining more skill and broader skill. And if you're a programmer, learn different languages. If you're a programmer and you want to advance into different aspects of the technology or security field, then look at engineering or architecture, again, with all of those appropriate skills. If you want to be a leader, then I do think, again, it's a decision. You have to really do a self-evaluation. Is this really what do I want to serve my people, or do I want to if I'm looking at leadership as I get authority and I get more money, then that's probably not the right motivation, and you're probably not going to be successful. And especially in today's time and generation, I mean, people see right through that. And so evaluate that. If that's your passion, then I think it's a development path. I consider leadership both an art and a science. You can learn leadership skills, but you can't replace the passion for leadership.
Yeah, Tim, if you don't mind me just pulling that thread real quick, interesting. We had talked earlier about information systems. When I had went to college back in the mid '80s, there wasn't a computer science degree at Georgia Southern. It was actually an information systems degree. So I got a management information systems degree. Most of it was doing, programming, basic computer type stuff, and various engineering statistics course. And I found that I hated the code. There are people that are good at it: Pascal, COBOL, Fortran, all the code. And I did them all. Wrote the Polish calculator, the online hours, hated it. But what I found was I was fascinated by information technology. I was fascinated by, what it did to enable where we were as a society. And when I went in the Army, I started to learn the leadership skills. Leadership's about inspiring others to achieve things they never imagined they could do, which is going back to what Tim just alluded to. And now all of a sudden the Army put me around information technology soldiers and leaders. And in the Signal Corps of the Army, people really don't realize that as a good, huge portion of the battalion that I was blessed to bring home safely from Iraq, a good hunk of those were females, women, technologists, soldiers that inspired me in more ways than you can ever imagine. And what I found was that each of them had certain skill sets that you had to realize, enable, put them in the jobs that ultimately they could excel at. And part of your job as an information technology leader is to kind of assess what skills they have so that you can set the conditions for their next opportunity of success. And so, Brown & Brown, we have a teammate resource group called the Power of She, which I'm a member of. And the Power of She across the company, and Brown & Brown is made up of almost 62% women. And it's a mentorship program, meaning people volunteer to mentor across the organization so that we can help them understand what they're ultimately good at. And to your point, Tim, Some of them may be that they represent the business well. One of them is Jessica Gitman, and and because they represent the business so well, how do they become the translator between the business and what we're doing to enable the business? And we're a technology enabled insurance broker, which is important as well. Thanks, Tim. I apologize. You got me off on my.
Again, I appreciate that add-in, and it is so important. I've had the privilege, going back to my military experience. A very dear friend of mine was the first female in all four services allowed to go to EOD school and graduate from EOD school. And to this day, she is a mentor to many women who become EOD techs. And EOD, women are more underrepresented in EOD than technology. but it is, and I've had the privilege, throughout that career as well as my civilian cyber career, to foster and mentor women into the role. And in some cases, we had the conversation that they thought they wanted it, they didn't, so we helped them do something else. And I believe part of that leadership is, and I'll tell anybody this: if you're not successful here, I will help you go where you can be successful, because ultimately it's about me caring about them and their success. And I believe everybody can be successful anywhere or somewhere if that's what their passion is. But anyway, I'll turn it back up.
I want to throw in real quick. I love Marissa's comments from the chat. She says, the powerful statement of a leader is a servant to their team. That is so true. Greenleaf, 1970. My doctorate degree is in information security. Dr. Tina Honey out of Texas, Austin, Texas, taught me about Robert Greenleaf, 1970. The concept of servant leadership. If you want to Google, and when I can't sleep, I read. Your leader and how you lead makes a difference. A leader should not be caught up on power. They should not. My job at my organization is to empower and to place people where they're going to be successful, to help them find that thing that they're passionate about. So, it speaks to, us maturing as an entity, as a discipline. And it's just so much good and so much just improvement that we can do across the industry, which overall will help the U.S., will help us globally, in the fight that we have as cybersecurity professionals.
It does, and I'm sure Barry will back me up on this. What you find in the military is rank does not make the leader. In the perfect world, rank is a reflection of the leader, so they've proven themselves and they earn the rank. But positional leadership is just that. It's positional power, right? It has not, what makes the leader is their care, their compassion, and their wanting to serve their people and bring the best into their people.
So Shatra, thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to have this panel discussion. I know you might have a couple of questions from the chat that we want to cover. But just, once again, thank you to you and your organization for allowing us to have this discussion. And we'll look forward, if there's a speaker that somebody would like to hear on the next one, we're going to do these quarterly. So please make those suggestions, and we'll have another great panel discussion sometime in the third quarter. And with that, Chatra, I will turn it back to you.
First, Stuart, thank you for bringing Barry, Tim, and Dr. Natalie together. Wow, what a great conversation this one was. And it was very authentic. So, Barry, Tim, most of the men are always afraid to come into the women's organization and say, what should I say? How should I say? But the language that you use, how you celebrated your daughter, how you explained the concept was very, very well appreciated. So some of the takeaways for me was very valuable, but I want the audience who's listening, please put it in the chat. What were your takeaways as I kind of highlight? Because it's very important for us to reflect on the conversation. Otherwise, you don't remember what you really took away. So a couple of things I took away was the cultural fit and the character. That is like number one in anything that you do, right? That's, you have to build that. And that is something that comes from your family, comes from how you develop yourself. So that one was very, very well received. The second one is focus, putting a very clear focus on where in the cybersecurity journey you want to go in, whether it's application, database, API, or integrations that you do. That's a very important piece. Dr. Natalie, I'm so glad you talked about that one, because most of the people think cybersecurity is so broad, but at the end of the day, coming to that laser focus is critical. The third piece, which was very fascinating and very, Tim, both of you talked about, was the identity and ensuring that you understand the zero trust environment, talking about the bigger picture, because it's about people's identity, is what we are looking at, and how technology needs to really protect the human's identity. And that's what we are really working towards in AI, is making sure our identity is not distorted, right? And the cybersecurity becomes very critical. And the areas of volunteering, I'll do a quick. I just did a micro project to see how many of our network will actually apply for a micro project, right? It's a volunteering kind of role, but it had a space for them to answer the questions in a video. But so many people did not take on that opportunity. And my whole philosophy is, I cannot work with you till I work with you. It's a very simple logic. So that's how Seth Godin talks about. So when those opportunities come in, please ensure that you are taking on and doing the stepping in into your leadership role to really do it. I'm glad, Pamela, I hear that you're going to submit, but let's talk about what the community is talking about. First is, they really appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for guiding them. Don't underestimate your business acumen and leadership skills in this space. You don't have to be the most technical person to be in the space. The men in the senior leadership role really do want to give women a chance outside of the competitiveness to the male candidates. So, Barry, Tim, it was not just me, but I think the community felt that one too. Passion is important. And 29% of cybersecurity professionals in Canada are women. We need to focus on the early pipeline regarding the cyber and overall STEM, and looking forward to connect. So if you felt the conversation was amazing, put boom in the chat so the speakers can know how you felt it. Okay, questions. There are tons of them that has come in to all of you. First one, you can take it, is, as someone with a master's degree, not in cybersecurity, who is how to transition in the field, and what are some early steps to land into a role? And they have master's degree, but not in cybersecurity, but probably in the information sciences. Is there anything that they have to do, like a micro credentialing or some micro projects that they should be doing?
It depends on the direction where they want to go, whether it's governance, whether it's compliance, whether it's assessments. A master's proves that you are committed. That is, congratulations on that. That is work. I understand, been there. But you now have to ask yourself, what do I want to do with this? How do I want to benefit the world around me? Do you like writing policies? I actually enjoy writing policies. So that's maybe a policy writing class, or AI. I mean, I'm beginning to dabble over there, where how can my skills, my current skill set, be built out from new technology that's developing? So,
Stuart, you were talking about the AI piece. Is there any question that is lingering around in your mind that needs to be answered?
Well, we only got a couple of minutes, and I'm big on calendar integrity, and I appreciate everybody who joined us today. But so, maybe we could get a couple of seconds from each one of you. But, AI is going to change the world, right? And AI is going to eliminate some jobs and create a whole bunch of new jobs. I realize we're early on this, but maybe some early perspective on what jobs you think are going to get created that people on this session can be thinking about. Boy, in 12 months, that may be a great opportunity for me. So, Barry, maybe I'll let you say something first.
Yeah, 6 months ago, I never thought I'd be having a conversation with someone at the airport about, can ethics be taught to AI? And they were literally focusing their college education around how they could take their psychology degree and leverage that to be part of a company that's trying to be a differentiator from an AI perspective, but bring in an ethical AI platform associated with the delivering offering. And so I do believe that while do I have some, obviously as a chief security officer of a publicly traded company, just like Tim does, there's some challenges associated with make sure that as the business rushes to that as an enabler, to drive efficiency and scale, phenomenal. But we need to do it in a way that we've got the right level of risk management wrapped around it as well.
Yeah, let me jump. It is very, I think, almost coincidental, comical, or whatever. I was one of a young lady in the UK that I've been a mentor for some time. She kind of asked, what's going. I'm very interested in this, and I suggested to her that she pursue a career as an AI ethicist. And I thought I just coined that, and made it up. And come to find out, there really is an emerging profession in that. And I think it is very important because, as we wrote our controls around AI, ensuring you've got to ensure non-bias. You've got to ensure that any decision that it makes would be, seen as reasonable, ethical, and legal. And so I do think that's a very interesting. The person that was talking about having a master's degree already, maybe they sidestep into that.
Chatra, we probably need to wrap things up with where we are.
Absolutely. I would say thank you so much to all of you for being here. We will wrap up the session now. There are a few opportunities for all of you. Please consider putting this, application for your cybersecurity certification scholarship if you're looking for it. And again, please give a loud shout out to all the speakers on LinkedIn and acknowledge them for coming and giving their valuable time for educating us. What we will do is go back into the lounge area. If you want to meet with me and my team, we will be available, and the speakers can go back to their calendar of activities that is scheduled for them, even on Friday. Again, thank you all for being here, and thank you for contributing to growing women's leadership skills. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.